What's going on, Canes fans? Welcome to another Late Night Thoughts with Coop. Most of you already know what this is. When I can't sleep, I turn on the camera, I hit record, and we chat for a few minutes. It's raw, unedited. There's no crazy high energy or skits or anything like that. We're just chilling and we're just talking. And right now I want to talk about Cam Ward. And honestly, really not even just Cam Ward, but the quarterback situation when it comes to the transfer portal for the Canes. But we do have to talk about Cam Ward because Canes Twitter, or Canes X, there's no way I'm ever going to call it X, it's Twitter. Canes Twitter is all up in arms and in full-blown panic mode because we didn't get Cam Ward. Cam Ward didn't commit to Miami. It's over. It's a done deal. Let's move on. Let's backpedal. Let's get Will Howard instead, or actually let's go for someone else. This guy isn't all Miami Hurricane because he didn't drop the commitment while he was down in South Florida. So the big question here is, why didn't he? Why aren't we celebrating right now that Cam Ward is a Miami Hurricane? I'm not going to come on here and pretend like I have all of the answers, but I really think that this one is common sense. Number one, just because he didn't commit yet does not mean that he won't. Cam Ward could still, in the end, become a Miami Hurricane. But you really have to use common sense here and think about something for a moment. Why didn't Cam Ward commit on his very first visit? This guy has multiple $1 to $2 million plus NIL deals floating around. He has schools all over the country foaming at the mouth trying to get him. Miami, Florida State, USC. At the bare minimum. There's probably lots of other ones that aren't even reported and out there. So just think about it for a second. Would it really be in his best interest? Would it be smart to drop a commitment after your very first visit? I think people are forgetting that this guy's also weighing his options for the NFL draft. I do think he stays in college one more year because there's so many, lucrative NIL offers and stuff out there these days that he'll make his money. So I think, honestly, it'll be smart for him to stay in college for another year. But you have to take the fandom out of it for a second. And I admit that's not easy to do. I struggle to do that. The obvious answer for us is choose Miami. Be a Cane. But that's because we love Miami. We're Miami Hurricanes fans. So, of course, that would be our answer. But you have to look at it with an outside perspective. Not every kid grows up being a Miami Hurricanes fan. Not every player, even if they were, gets the opportunity to play for their dream school. So with Cam Ward, he's got to look out for Cam Ward. He's got to look out for his family. And I think that it's smart. People don't want to hear this, but I'm just saying. I think it's smart that he weighs his options. They're saying that he might visit Florida State later this week, maybe this weekend. He went home after the Miami visit. He's not going straight to Florida State, but he visited Miami. He said, I loved it. They're high on my list. He gave the typical generic, visit response. And he said he's going to go back home. Then he possibly is going to visit Florida State and still even maybe USC at minimum. And he said he wants to take 1 to 2 weeks to think about it. And, you guys saw the pictures, right? Like Miami rolled out the red carpet for this guy. Let me bring it over. I said no edits or anything like that, but we'll just jump over. Miami rolled out the red carpet, man. I love here that with this, they did bring in some current players because they could kind of, tell him about some of their experiences on the team and, kind of talk it up a bit. You got freaking Rohan Marley, everybody knows who he is. And he played for Miami, so he has ties to Miami. Pretty sure that's Mark Fletcher. I believe that's Jacoby George, if I'm not mistaken. So, he's going to be handing the ball off to this guy, throwing the ball to this guy. And then they also brought in the head man, of course. I mean, Prime 112. That's what everybody's always talking about. That's the spot. That's where you're going to take the big time recruit. And then Miami even brought in the heavy hitter Rick Ross. I saw some other fan bases trolling Miami saying, oh, yeah, Miami has to try to impress with celebrities because, they don't have conference championship trophies to show him or W's to talk about. You have to understand that Miami is different than anywhere else. Both of those guys have ties to Miami. Marley played at Miami and is still involved. And Rick Ross is a known Miami fan. So it does matter. It is relevant, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I don't understand. Other fan bases just have nothing to reach for, so that's what they're saying. And even if you want to make that argument, I think it's still important to bring in some celebrities and some people that honestly are powerful people with a lot of money, because it shows that there's a lot of opportunities in that area, and connections are very important. So even outside of football, even though that's what he wants to do, connections are everything, bro. Connections are so important. And if you go play for Miami, you're going to make some serious connections with some very big and powerful people. So I think that's kind of the idea behind bringing the celebrities in that also have ties to the program. But anyways, I'm getting way off track here. What went wrong? I don't think anything went wrong. I think that Cam Ward is just trying to be a smart guy, and he's taking his time and weighing his options. I don't think that anything went wrong because he didn't commit. I don't think that has anything to do with it. Now, there is one issue here. Let's be honest. I'm sure you've heard other people talk about it. I'm sure other Miami YouTubers have talked about it. Miami has some time, but not a lot of time. And I think that the idea was Miami wanted to bring in a veteran quarterback, a guy that was going to make a splash, and it would potentially affect signing day a bit. We all know that there are several guys that Miami is trying to flip, and several of those guys are in skill positions. You know what I'm trying to say? You know who I'm hinting at? And Miami would like to have a quarterback in place before December 20th. That's Wednesday of next week, depending on when you're watching this video. So if Cam Ward says, yo, I want to take, 2, 3, 4 plus more visits, I need like 10 days to think about this for Miami, we can't get caught sitting on our hands and not making moves because we're all in on this guy. And then we miss out on everyone else. We miss out on the Will Howard or the Jordan McCloud or the DeQuan Finn. And I'm not saying that you guys are fans of any of those, but the coaching staff has already showed that they want a veteran, experienced guy. Why else would you roll out the red carpet for a Cam Ward? Why else would you bring Will Howard on for a visit? They want a veteran guy. But Miami doesn't have the entire month of December to wait, and I don't think they will wait. You can kind of gauge. Mario has experience in this department, and other guys on the coaching staff. They can kind of get a vibe and a feel. They're going to continue to touch base with Ward. It's not like he goes down to Miami and then now all of a sudden he just never hears from the coaches again. They'll continue to touch base with them, and there will be communication, and they'll be able to kind of tell. They'll be able to read the room, and they know what's going on. They'll definitely be able to tell. I just can't believe that there are Canes fans already saying, all right, well, I'm done with Ward. Let's move on. We're done with it. He didn't commit to Miami. If he was a real Cane, he would have went ahead and made the commitment and put pen to paper. Bro, that's just ridiculous. If you were in his shoes, like I said, fandom set to the side, you were Cam Ward, you would want to explore your options, 100%. And if you say otherwise, I'm calling you out. You're lying. You're straight up lying. And I don't care if he goes to visit Florida State. Yeah, that's our in-state rival. They're probably offering the bag. He's going to go check it out. I get it. But what is interesting here, this is something that I definitely wanted to bring up. There's not been nearly as much talk about the Will Howard visit, the Kansas State transfer portal quarterback. I don't know if it's that the coaching staff didn't roll out the red carpet treatment for him, or if it's just not been publicized as much because Cam Ward is the the big-time name, the name that gets clicks, right? I am actually still a fan of Will Howard, and I think the coaching staff is too. The stuff that has been put out says that the Will Howard visit went well, that he liked Miami. The coaching staff liked him. They said he was well-spoken, seemed like a smart individual, and I think that he's a pretty good football player. It's just not as flashy as the Cam Ward. But this brings me back to where I said we have to be careful because Will Howard has a lot of other schools interested in him as well. So if we go all in on Ward, we wait, 10 days pass, 15 days pass, however long it is, and he ends up going to Florida State or USC. In the meantime, Will Howard is getting calls from all these other schools, and he's making visits. We miss out on Ward, then Howard. That's two big-time guys that Miami, actually brought in to visit. And again, it's not just those two guys. I don't dislike DeQuan Finn. I kind of like Jordan McCloud. Miami wants a one-and-done guy. They would like a veteran guy to come in. And you can set up the Dante Moore visit, the UCLA transfer, but it's probably not a day one starter in 2024. They want to bring in a guy like Dante Moore who can sit for a year and be under the one-and-done guy, the guy with experience. But Miami has to be very careful here. I will admit that it is a fine line. And hopefully they don't completely mismanage this because the quarterback room has been mismanaged for a long time under multiple coaching staffs. So Miami has to be real careful here. They absolutely went all in with Cam Ward, and it's very apparent that this coaching staff is high on him and they like him. But don't press the panic button yet. I'm not going to come on here and pretend like I know more than I do. I can't tell you if he is or isn't going to be a Miami Hurricane. And I'm going to go ahead and warn you, nobody else really knows either. And that's why I think Canes fans lost it on Twitter today, is because so many Canes fans were buying the BS tweets from the fake insiders on Twitter, tweeting out the eyes emoji and the gifs of, just showing all these crazy things and people pretending like they know more than they do, confirming that their inside source said Cam Ward put pen to paper. Their inside source said within 24 hours Ward is going to announce. And what happens is we want to be excited about something. We want good things to happen. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm in the exact same boat as you. But you got to show some patience, and you can't look too much into the tweets and the BS nonsense that spews out all over social media and the message boards and stuff. If somebody says that they know somebody and they have an insider and they flaunt it and they boast about it all the time and they put it out there, I'm just going to be honest with you, they probably don't. Because the people who really do don't boast about those things and flex about it all the time. It's just how it works. And there are a few people that, will tweet some stuff out and say some things that do talk to people. But for the most part, those people are going to wait and let these guys have their moment. They're not going to ruin it for them. When we were talking about the quarterbacks, I just looked over at my other monitor. Grayson McCall is off the board. I know there were a few of you that did like him, the Coastal Carolina transfer. He is transferring to NC State. So that's one off the board. And there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks coming off of the board this week. So that's where it's going to start to get a little iffy. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Miami because they 100% want Ward. I think that they would take Will Howard if we don't get Ward. But again, you got to be careful and not mess this thing up because then we end up having to go for a developmental guy. And then, we still don't know what happens with Jakari. Can we be honest? Given that the staff is so lasered in on a Cam Ward or Will Howard, shows that Jakari is still probably leaving, right? Because no matter what, there would be no open competition with one of those guys. It's just facts. It's just facts that they would not compete. They would come to Miami to play. With that being said, is Jakari willing to ride the bench in 2024 and be QB number 2 and waiting again to then have to open it up in 2025 to compete with Emory Williams. 2 more years of not playing, plus he didn't play in 2023. And remember, it's no hate or shade towards Jakari. I hope he stays. I'm just trying to look at the reality, the facts. I'm trying to dissect this situation and be honest and real about it. So I still think that he possibly stays. But it puts him in a bad spot, doesn't it? Because he's going to stay and play the bowl game, and that transfer portal window is going to close in the first week of January. Unless moves are being made behind the scenes and some communication is being had, it's possible. It's very possible. All I wanted to do was come on here and say, don't panic, don't freak out, don't be all super negative about the situation because you got overhyped. This is to be expected. High-profile quarterbacks, high-profile players, period, that are in the portal, but especially quarterbacks, because everybody's going to be talking about QBs. The high-profile quarterbacks are expected to take multiple visits, especially in today's times with the huge NIL money being thrown around. You are literally going to shop around. Be careful what you listen to and what you pay attention to on social media, because everybody wants to be the breaking news, first one to put it out there. They have inside sources. So just be careful and be real and double check stuff, and then you won't set yourself up to be so disappointed. I don't really know. I don't even have a prediction. I don't know what I think. I don't know what's going to be going through these guys' heads. What's interesting is I feel like Will Howard would be a Cane if there was no doubt from the coaching staff. Does that make sense? Like, Will Howard knows that they're also bringing in Cam Ward. So is Will Howard like a second guy in waiting? Like, hey, we want to see what Cam Ward says. If Cam Ward says no, we'll take you. But you wouldn't want to. You wouldn't want to approach it like that, because then if you feel like you're not wanted, then you would say, screw you guys and go somewhere else. Or are they waiting on Will Howard or Cam Ward, and whoever says yes first, they take? I don't know. I just know I'm gonna sit back and continue to laugh at Twitter, and I'm gonna watch this thing play out, and then I'll post a video when the player makes an announcement. But it could still be Cam Ward. It could still be Will Howard. It could be DeQuan Finn. It could be Jordan McLeod. They've not really talked about him, though. It's Cam Ward or Will Howard or bust at the moment, it seems. I still think they're trying to pursue a second transfer portal quarterback, but it doesn't have to be a veteran. Like, it doesn't have to be a guy with a ton of experience. They'll bring in a guy that they can work on and develop in 2024. I think they're fine with that approach. But it's a little scary because we have the money. We definitely do. We have the star power. But Dawson hasn't proved a whole lot yet. I'm just being real. That's how I'm wrapping this thing up. So it's a little bit of a tough sell with Mario and Dawson, and there's some question marks. So I don't blame these guys for wanting to look around. Fandom aside, I don't blame them. Remember, though, guys, we're all one big happy college football family, but at the end of the day, I got to say, it's always better when you get to rep the U. Coach Coop, peace out. Comment something below. Just let me know how you feel about the situation with Ward and with Howard. Would you be happy with Ward? Back up. Would you be happy with Howard? I know you'd be happy with Ward. At least 9 out of 10 Canes fans would be. Would you be happy with Howard if Ward says, you know what, I still need more time, and the staff says, okay, we got to pull the trigger on Howard. We need to bring a veteran in here. Or Ward says, no, I don't think Howard is settling. That's my thing. I don't think we're settling if we go with Howard. He played pretty well. And even in the games that they lost, it was close. They had a close game against Texas. I think that... Who else did they play close? They only lost to Mizzou by 3. They beat ranked Kansas. I think people are downplaying Will Howard a little bit. I think they are. But, hey, that's it for me. Comment down below. I'll see y'all in the next one. Coach Coop, peace out.